Pink Cloud Radio 61. Well, 7 deadly sins. That's what I'm going to talk about right now. The 7 deadly sins, supposedly, in this whole thing. Wrath, greed, sloth, pride, lust, envy, and gluttony. Why am I bringing these up? I have no reason, actually. But I kind of do. Because, literally, it's what I'm doing every day. Everything. All this stuff. Anything I do. Anything I do is related to it. Wrath. May have no warfare, may have no war or peace in mind, or anything else in mind. But wrath is substantially anything. So, for example, I could bring up me disagreeing with somebody, or my disagreements with what happened within the family or without the family. Anything that I could personally bring up is a contractional wrath. Even if it's not in wrathful terms, even if it's not with wrath. Doesn't matter. It's a part of it. It's a part of it in some form. It does matter because it is in that way. It is in that way wrathful. Even if it's not with any kind of, I guess, hate or anguish or some kind of emotional outburst. It doesn't need to be an emotional outburst. It could be some kind of other outburst. Same thing with greed. You don't have to do it for money. You don't have to do it for anything else. Maybe I think I'm greedy, but I'm greedy in different ways. I don't think I'm greedy with what I guess the way I would keep it here. But I think I'm greedy in what I would use in that way. So I may be greedy in terms of using what influences I make. That's the greed. The greed in the music I listen to and the artists I listen to. Those kind of things. Or something like that. Or reading books. You can be greedy with any little thing. But at the same time, you can be greedy without it too. You can say, I don't need it. I don't care for reading, that kind of stuff. You could have the opposite effect, where you put down anybody who does something, and you're the greedy one because you want people to do the things the way you do it. So you're being greedy with how you are compared to how somebody else is. So in fact, the deadly sins are just as deadly without the deadly sins at all. And I think a lot of people use that against you. Say, hey, you're being greedy. Why are you reading? You know, what the fuck? Just because you don't read, I shouldn't either? Shut the fuck up. And then that's out of there. Because literally that's what it is. It's saying that you need to do the exact same thing I do. No thanks. I have no reason to. And sloth. Yeah, I'm slothful. But I don't feel that I'm lazy about it or bored about it. I don't use my sloth to engage in what I do. Basically, I don't become the sloth. I am the sloth. You know, I'm the sloth beast. I'm the monster. But I don't use it to say that I'm bored or lazy. Because I wouldn't go that far to, I guess, to generate a kind of opinion of what I'm doing. I'm just doing that. I wouldn't go so far to say I'm bored or lazy about it. Why would I? If I feel slothful, then I feel slothful. That's all. I wouldn't say it's worse or bad to feel one way or the other. Pride. Nah, I don't have that. No pride. I don't think I've ever used pride to define any quality of mine. I think the only quality of mine that I use pride with is something that nobody else has nowadays. Which is, mostly people do sex and options and stuff like that. And that's fine. So it's kind of hard to not have pride. Or I guess I wouldn't say pride. I would just say it's very unusual for me to not feel the same way as everybody else does. But again, I'm not using any I don't think I'm using any influence outside of the realm of what I become. Because I think at this point, it's kind of hard for me to depend on how my grandma or mom or brother thinks, or anybody close to me thinks, a friendship or anything, to define the kind of qualities that I have now. Because I think it's very hard to show that balance, because I don't have the same thought of what things I need to do based on how anybody else has done things, close to me or not close to me. So it's kind of hard to use pride in that way. So I don't think I use it in a prideful way. I think I just use it in a way of like, yeah, it's a big turnoff. But I don't care. I'll let it be a turnoff to all. That's actually a good thing. If I could turn people off, that's actually a good thing. That means there's only one person I could turn on. And that's a good sign. There you go. Lust. Yes. Yes, thank you. I like it.
But I don't think I like it in that way. I think it's just lust is that kind of, it's something in us too. There is instinct in it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to misjudge anything else with it. That's the bad part, where I think lust comes in the wrong way, where people say, oh, that's just lust. Maybe it's not just lust. Maybe it's something more. And maybe that's what, sometimes people take something as lust when it's more than that at times. Or maybe it is just that. But I think at certain times where people just don't want to deal with it, or just say, oh, that's just lust, they may be just taking that and assimilating it into one character. Saying that it's the same thing as what they experienced before. Well, if it is, it is. You can't change that. But you can try to make somebody feel like, hey, you're worse for thinking that way. When it's just like them thinking about sex or something. Well, if it's about lust, it doesn't necessarily mean it's about sex. Lust is many different things, actually. Many different things. Envy. Oh, envy. One of my favorites. I hate it. I don't think I ever have shown envy for anyone. And if I had or have, it was mostly because I lost something. And it wasn't because of bitterness or anything. It was because I lost a friendship at times or something like that. Then I had envy for the fact that they had their friends, but they didn't want me around. And I wouldn't say I was envious to the point to where I wanted to be them, but I was envious to the point that they had those things. And they destroyed the thing they had with me. And still had those things. So it kind of like, it's that enviousness of like, what the fuck, But then again, it makes sense to them. So, I can't argue, but I don't think I've ever carried that envy. I think I've just used it to understand like what the fuck happened. I think it's almost like filling that, the old idea of filling the void. But everyone has a void to a certain extent, so they always have to fill that void. But I don't know if anybody wants to participate in doing that. But then again, I don't know. There may be something more to it and maybe something less to it. But envy, not a big fan. Gluttony? That's hard. That's hard because it's hard to say I don't have gluttony because I eat. I don't know if I overeat. At times I undereat and then I feel I need to eat more. So I think that's where I feel the most gluttony, is when I don't eat too much during one day and then it feels like I need to eat more. Which probably is true. And then when I do eat during the day and it's a normal pattern of eating, I feel like this isn't gluttony. Because I don't really eat too much. I just eat like a pretty good amount of everything. And it feels like, it's not gluttony. It actually feels like more gluttony when I don't eat. Which seems kind of weird, but it kind of makes sense if you're in the same spot and you're kind of just looking for everything and then you find nothing. And then you're like, I'll just deal with it. In that kind of way where it doesn't feel like you're not eating at all. It feels like you're just kind of doing okay with everything. Food-wise, I mean. But I think when it comes down to it, 7 deadly sins, they're their own things. They can be important and they cannot be. I wouldn't know exactly how to end it or how to begin it, but I do know that the 7 deadly sins have some kind of meaning. And maybe big, maybe small. But at that point, that's all I can really think of them. They don't really have a huge effect, I guess. But they have a big effect. It's just, it goes back to the next part I'm just going to read about. Everyone has willpower. If they didn't, they could not get up every day or do anything. It's a matter of what they want to put their willpower into. What do you want to put your willpower into? Because everyone has it. It's nice that it's nice. I remember back Pink Cloud number 4, if you go back to it, at one point we talked about Pink Cloud, or a round table, where it was a group, and if you're looking for somebody with willpower, nobody has it. That's not true. If nobody had willpower, one, nobody could sustain anything, and I mean anything. The Simpsons has been on for 25 years. Or more. But the point is, in my lifetime, to say that we've basically said that nobody has willpower is like limiting the potential of what we already do. It's like saying, well, people don't do anything for willpower, they just do it because they have to. So, someone has to get into abusive relationships. Someone has to. I mean, when you come down to it, you're basically nailing the coffin shut, saying that everybody that does everything right now is just doing it because they have to. So people have to get into bad relationships. People have to treat their friends bad. People have to abuse. People have to use revenge and bullying. People have no choice in this. Though I doubt that people would make a good choice when they have a choice to hurt people and get more out of it. I don't doubt that they don't have any willpower at all to stand up and do something for themselves. They obviously have that willpower. They use it for bad things. They use it for revenge and bullying and avenging anything. They use it for that stuff. So obviously they have enough willpower to do that. To say they don't, military wouldn't exist anywhere. There would be no military. There'd be no sports or competition. There wouldn't be anything at all if there was no willpower in anyone. Just to show that one person has enough willpower to do it. If there was, let's say there was only one person doing any sport or doing any military work in the world, anywhere, that would show that everybody has willpower. And that's the same thing with people saying that only 10 or 20% of people know the truth about our government and the whole world and how things really run. That actually shows that everybody does. The rest of the people are like Cypher from the Matrix, and their ignorance is bliss. They want to get back into it because they don't care about the truth. The truth has not set them free. And to a certain extent, he's kind of right for doing it, because he was mistreated as Cypher, as his character. He was just in the corner when you first met him. He just grabbed the cell phone, or gave the cell phone out or something, and that was it. You know, when you really think about it, there are certain people in our lives that do get, kind of demeaned or devalued or put to the side. And to a certain extent, that's their attitude. That's what they want. Maybe he created it himself, but maybe he didn't. Maybe it was the other people around him that created that environment and made it hard to say, hey, let's talk about this, let's get into this conversation. And right here, right now, this is the exact same reason Pink Cloud Radio exists. Because everybody else exited the conversation or got a headache from me. I mean, or didn't understand anything I said and tried and still didn't understand. So when you come down to it, anybody can be a Cypher. But I don't say ignorance is bliss, and I think that's what everyone having willpower is. Everyone has willpower. If they didn't, they couldn't do anything. They couldn't even think each day and use the machines and use the robotic means, Yes, your capitulation in a system, as George Carlin would put it, is, just push the buttons and, do it. As long as you're doing things that are unimportant, you're fine. Once you start doing things important, you're dead. But then this whole thing, if everybody did everything important, everyone would be dead. That's the difference. That's why when I hear people say, like, it is what it is, you can't change things, it usually means you don't want to even try to change things. Yikes. But if everyone actually did all at once, woo, you would change things. You would have changed things a long time ago. But that's the difference, is that do you want to make that step forward altogether? Or do you want to treat each other like assholes? It's a choice. But it is your own choice. Your own willpower. This will always be dirt. The Mother Earth, I mean. And I praise the dirt. The Mother Earth. But I have nothing to give it. I don't. There's nothing I can give the earth anymore. Sadly. And it's pathetic, really. Saddening that I can't give anything to the earth anymore. There's nothing I can give the earth. The earth doesn't want anything except all this gone. All the cement slabs and everything. That isn't part of nature. It's a nice thing to build, I guess you could say. I don't really consider it. Even for myself. I could live on nature. Can you? And that's the difference of this thing that we've sort of become. To say that natural instincts or being a caveman or living off nature, living off the earth, having the immune system, having things like that, oh, well, that doesn't work anymore. Well, yeah, it doesn't work anymore because of the things that man built, of the medications that man built, not through natural means, through chemical means. And chemicals may be part of the earth, but guess what? There's a lot of things in these patterns and buildings and everything else that weren't supposed to be together. And technology, I don't remember computers being around back then, when cavemen were around, which means that some of this stuff, where does the technology come from? In 50 years, 60 years, so on and so forth, out of nowhere. But maybe it's not out of nowhere. Maybe it is out of something. And that's where my questioning begins. But that's why I say there will always be dirt, And as long as there is dirt, literally, they'll never go away. We can't destroy the earth, no matter how much people say humans can be destroying earth. It's a nice ideal to believe that we have that kind of power over earth. We're living on earth, and we believe we're better than earth at that point. We believe we're better than earth. We believe we're above that. It's the same thing that we believe about animals and shit like that. The same instincts to belittle ourselves have gone away, or try to understand it to a certain perspective. We've already understood things to a perspective that is globally aware, as if we have awareness of everything that the globe is doing. I doubt it. But that's okay, I just don't have anything to give the earth anymore. Not with you, not with humans acting like that. There's nothing I can give you guys, sadly, and it's the same effect that we have right here. When people act like they're being selfless, I love this one. When they put their feelings between what they are asking, but it's the exact opposite. They are being the most selfish at that point. Have to have an answer for your own selfishness to get a better selflessness with others. Can't expect that from others to provide for you. And I think that's what people act like now with selflessness. They act with selflessness only to get a selfish answer out of themselves, only to feel better for themselves and get something out of it. So it's not really selflessness, it's selfishness. But it's that kind of selflessness where I'm going to help somebody, but as long as I get treated better, and I can mistreat that person because I'm helping them, where this is the fact of our natural tendencies now. When we help somebody, we hurt them too, because we can help. If we can help them, we can hurt them. Because I'm helping you still, so I can do anything I want to you. It's the kind of ownership of somebody, Hey, slavery was only a $2 cent when it comes down to how many people are doing that now. Not putting it down, but I am saying that there is a big effect now, where basically number 42. Put it in a simple thing. The only reason a black person was put into the league of baseball was because they make money off of him. That's what you get, guys. All of you. Humans. That's what you get. You get your rights because you could be made money. You're just a dollar sign. That's all you are. So, it's okay to have freedom, even if it's only because someone else can make money off of you. But what happens when there's no money behind that? There's nothing else behind that. It's just like what happened in Japan with all the Godzilla movies. The main reason for them was to show that the materialism, the money, all that stuff, there's nothing very spiritual behind it. There's nothing meaningful. There's nothing of value behind that. Meaning that once that value goes away, what happens to you? You're dead. So you have less value because all you have is a value. All you have is a money sign. So in fact, you probably had more worth or more some kind of condensed necessity. You were a necessity, even in that position. Even if that position seems so horrid now, there was enough to give you the climactic noose, meaning that, see, we'll butcher you, but at the same time, we need you. And it comes down to that. We are in the same effect of that kind of slavery where basically anybody's going to put down anybody now. Hey, you're putting down the system we're in. Hey, don't do that. You know, it's like when one of the slaves ran off, everyone else put him down when they got him when he was brought back or something. Hey, why'd you leave us like that? You know, it's almost like you're bad for leaving this kind of life, even if we're treated like shit. You know, and it's the same kind of thing that's happening now. You're bad for putting down America or any other thing that's happening, all the corruption here. You're bad for that. You know, they're not bad for that, but you are. You know, the people who are actually doing it are never bad for that, but you're bad for trying to run away from it, trying to show it for what it is. Yeah, you're a horrible person right there. You know, propagandist. Yes, I'm the propagandist, not the media that's owned by how many corporations now? How many companies? How many people that legally tender hold it? In the incorporated United States. Look up the copyright, my ladies and gentlemen, because you'll find the copyright for our country. We're an incorporated entity. We're not an actual country. Look it up. Don't talk to me. You know, do your own research. I always say that. You know, because to me, it's like my brother said recently, that when you look at the Illuminati or stuff like that, all you have to do is just a social club, just like Facebook or something. I like the way you said it like that. It's the people involved in it that are important to look at. What the Freemasons, Illuminati stuff is. That's a surface thing. That's just like a social club. When you really get down to it, it's the people involved in it that are more important to look at. Who's involved in this stuff? Who's involved in this right here? Let's find out. The names are more important than the name of the play, than the name of the social club or whatever. It's the names involved. It's the people involved there. Find out. Do your own research. But I think that's what really selflessness is. And a lot of people point out the goodness in people because of that. Oh, you know, that person is so good. Yeah, they're so good for being so selfish, even though they were trying to be selfless about it. Yes, what a good person right there. They're very loving and tender, you know, even though they wanted something out of it, even though they put their feelings in between all that. What a great person, you know. And at the same time, I could be put in that position too. But to be honest and fair, I never put my feelings in between, literally. Now, I mean that you have to listen to this very suggestively, meaning that I never said that I wanted things my way because of my feelings. But when you're being selfless about it and saying, you know, I'm going to help you out, but you better help me out or else no, then fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. If I wanted to hold a gun to the back of your head and stuff like that, I'd be a gangster, you know. If I wanted to do that kind of stuff, I'd work for the government, you know, be an economic hitman. Look up John Pilger, you know, the Confessions of an Economic Hitman. I'd be one of those people if I wanted to do that kind of stuff. I understand there's a lot of success and only money. You only get success through that means. Then good. I want to be a failure. Thank you very much. I want to be a failure because it's the only way I could show you that being this way is the only way to be for me. You know, and if I fail in life, good. It means I actually did something good for myself. I may not have done something good for you, but there's no way I could have done something good for you because you would have mistreated me for it. You would have said that I need to treat you bad because I need to do something bad to get anywhere in life. Well, congratulations. Do it to someone else. Have a good time with that. And I think that's what really is. It's providing for you what you can't expect. Well, then don't expect anything. There's one of the main things that I saw in this too. Expectations. It always comes with that selfishness, you know. It's that kind of, you have expectations. Well, don't have them. Don't have expectations, and don't push your expectations on other people that you're trying to help. If you want to help somebody, just help them. Don't expect nothing out of it. You know, you shouldn't. You should expect to help them. That's it. If you want something more than that, then you're looking at the wrong thing to do in life. You shouldn't be a psychologist, I'll tell you that much, because even if you get paid for it, you probably wouldn't get much out of it, no satisfaction out of it. But then again, a lot of people do their careers and jobs based on revenge and bullying. They hardly do it for actually passion for the work they do, which is pretty sad. But people say you got to play both sides of the field. But if you do know how, do you know what side of the field you're on by the end of it? I mean, you know, you got to play both sides of the field. You know, I love that. because it means that you have to have some kind of understanding of both, of everything. But I always think about that in my perspective, knowing that I don't have any understanding of either side of the field, that if you do know how, if you do know what side of, if you do know how, do you know what side of the field you're on by the end of it? Do you? Or do you care? That could even be a bigger saying, like, do you even care how you're going to end? I don't. But it's not because I don't care how it ends. It means that I personally can only do so much on my end. And I think that's the important part of even being on both sides of the field. It doesn't matter. Because what matters is what you are capable of and what your feelings are capable of outside of the realm of what side of the field you're on, whether you're on the field or not. And I think that's what really challenges a lot of people. Like, they always get upset with that. Like, that's what it goes back to, the selflessness. And even the 7 deadly sins. If you're going to use those things against other people, why? I never used my feelings to say that I'm right. I just used my feelings because I had to move on. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. But if you're not going to move on in the right way, why shouldn't I? And that's it. I can't be the kind of person that is going to attack you or abuse you because of the abuse you give yourself. For example, if someone abuses themselves, for example, or cuts their wrist or some other bullshit like that, you could look back in the past or in the future, then you're kind of saying that that's the kind of stuff you want. Well, then that's what you want. No one can change that. Not even I. And I think that's what really challenges a lot of people right there, is that kind of like, it goes into, people playing both sides of the field, really. It is that, it's that identity of like, of what you need versus what you want. And it's also just in general what happens to a lot of people all the time. They either use something for their benefit, which is a lot of times what people do, It's like when, don't you think you're saying I'm proud of this relationship when you're not? Oh, don't you think you're saying I'm proud of... Yeah, well, let me repeat it again, sorry. No, but a lot of people do that, Don't you think you're saying I'm proud of this relationship when you're not? It's true, I'm proud of this relationship. Well, are you really? Whether it's a relationship, friendship, stuff like that. Are you proud of it? Or are you just saying you're proud of it? And I think a lot of times that's what I look at when I hear a lot of people talk about like relationships or things like that. Things of that nature, that it's, it's not really about putting down somebody for it. Or I'm not, or at the same time, it's not me saying that a lot of people are idiots for being in those kind of relationships. It's a choice, and it goes back to willpower, really. You're going to have enough willpower for something else, or is that the willpower you have right there? It makes sense, I can't argue against that. But I think when you label somebody and say, hey, he should know better or she should know better, stuff like that, then you're basically trying to intimidate somebody to be the better person. But it also means that you can't be. You can't blame somebody else for what you can't do. But I think that's what a lot of people do, and I think that's what I mean by, don't you think you're saying I'm proud of this relationship when you're not? That's what basically a lot of people have been doing this whole lifetime that I've been in. Whether it's with the country, with how they are with the country, government, whether it's in a personal relationship. That's an important one right there, because what you have in the home is what you have in the country. What you have in the country is what you have on the earth. So all this abusive stuff, abusive relationship, it's not a small thing. It's a reflection of the country, of the world. And it gets bigger and bigger. So, I'm not an idiot. We're not idiots. If you want to keep doing things this way, you're going to have a bad result at the end. Your reputation may matter, but it doesn't matter once you allow all these bad things to happen. Then the bad reputation is the good things you do. It's not the bad things you do, because the bad things you do is a good thing of your reputation now. because you've accepted the reputation as a bad thing, which means good things are now bad. That's what it means. It's not propaganda. See, it's easy to call things propaganda when what you're doing is bad. You know, hey, that's propaganda over there. Yeah, but that's the good thing. That's the truth. You're doing a lie every single second, and that's propaganda because you're lying truthfully. That's propaganda. He's telling the truth truthfully, and that's propaganda? No, you're doing propaganda. No one else is, buddy. But that's the thing of what happens in that kind of realm, you know. And soon, eventually, when you try and kill an idea, your idea dies too. I mean, it's kind of true. It's probably one of the most true statements that has come out, really, in film and entertainment. You can find it in those things, and you can find it in real life, you know. And that's why a lot of my friendships died, because they tried to kill my ideas. And I said, you know what? It's my idea. Stop referring to it as somebody else's. You know, it's a great thing to try to, you know. But the best answer I got is the best one I give. Just look back at the history. You control the science, you control the math, you control the religion, you control the government, you control everything. But at the same time, you control the means of how that is supported. Well, we're not going to support this science, but we'll support this science. Tesla versus Edison. There you go. But, you know, it's what you can do. My idea is my idea. I may not be supported with investments, but I could care less. I don't need investments to show you what you feel. Because at the end of the day, no matter how long this perpetual system keeps on going, you'll still know. You'll still know how I feel, how you feel. You'll still know it. You can't avoid that. You can try to. You can try to avoid it and try to see it a certain way and say, no, this can't be happening the way Marcello has said it, the way Pink Cloud Radio has said it. Then you don't need me here. Never did. You know? At the same point, it goes back to like where people say like, oh, they kill people in secret, stuff like that within our government, stuff like that. We've heard rumors of such things. And at the same time, we put down other countries for killing people in the streets. Yes, of course, the Middle East killing people in the streets. Okay. Basically, you're saying in secret, it's a good thing if there's corruption. But in public, oh, you shouldn't be doing that in public. No, you can't give that kind of loose information to the public. You got to keep things a secret. That's why we put down other countries, because they're putting out the secrets of what we're doing with them, of working with them. I mean, that's why we're attacking the Middle East at all, because they gave out a lot of information of what we did with them, how we worked with them, how we were partners with them during times when we shouldn't have been. But that's the secrets that we're giving out. You know, and at the same time, it's also about the terrorist organizations we work with, which we've worked with for years. But just as much, Iran has, and just as much. Well, we don't want other countries doing that. We want to be the only ones doing that shit. We want to be working on two sides, you know. We can't let other people get money off of that kind of stuff. So we destroy their countries. Iran and stuff like that, we destroy their country. No, we're the only bad ones here. We're the only ones that are doing that. You know, it's the ego and pride. Destroy them, and dead or alive. You know, we're the most contradictory ones, and we kill any idea off because we decide to. That's your willpower, basically. Your willpower is to keep the lies truthfully alive. That's your willpower, really. And that really is the willpower of an abusive relationship. You know, I love this man, even though he's beaten me till I can't stand. Or a woman and a woman, or a man. You can have any of those kind of relationships with all types. That's the scary thing. I mean, it's a nice ideal to believe that if you go with somebody similar, or gender-wise or whatever, sexual orientation, you have a choice. You can still have pretty fucked up things happen. Actually, the most fucked up things can happen because of that. Especially if your reasoning is only because I was treated badly this way. You kind of have to understand the choices you made too. You got to understand why. Once you understand why, there's a lot more opening to you. Whether it's somebody who's in the same sex relationship or not. People want sometimes, or a lot of times, for things to change in their lives. They'll not let a new person in their life. You can't get anyone else to change things but yourself. So the use of others to see someone close see you differently can't happen. And that's like what I've learned about a lot of what happens, that people do want that. They want sometimes a lot of things to change in their lives, though they don't want to let a new person into their life. It means that they want to go back to somebody else that they've known, but they want to change here. You can't do that, You can't, put on somebody that truly has a good investment in this. Not money-wise. Investment meaning their heart, their curiosity, their love there. If they've put in that time, what have you put in? Well, I want to go back to somebody else. I just want to learn this love. Got it. Well, then you can't use that person to intimidate the other person. Whether it may be for jealousy, the olive oil complex, or something like that, or at the same time it may be what we've seen before, which is, I don't have an identity for myself, so what I can do is I can use your identity. And that's what a lot of people try to do. They try to, when they learn something from somebody, they try to use it against them. And they try to say, I learned that now I can use it against you and help you. Ha ha ha. And then they have that ego and pride bullshit, and it's like kick you in the face for that, But, literally that's what it is. It's using somebody else's authority or personality, figure, as and it's not about, what kind of position they're in. It's who they are. That's what really counts. And I think that's what always counts, especially with these things. Because people sometimes take somebody else's character and try to use that character and personality. They try to use it because that's the real authority. There's no authority in an actual figurehead of being a manager or being in a position of power like a president or something. It matters what kind of characters you take on. If you take on the right characters, you could use it and snub every single person on this earth. And that's what a lot of people do. And that's why entertainment is used the way it is. That's why TMZ and all this other bullshit that's on uses it the way they do. Because there's power in that. Of course, it's sarcasm and cynicism. I don't think there's any power in that, personally. But that's my personal view. I think it's one of the most useless gestures I've seen. Because at least before it was about how somebody did things, and they learned about the mistakes they made. Now it's about who you are. Well, fuck you. I don't need this shit. I'm Pink Cloud Radio, so I have no grip in life. Don't need it. Because my grip in life is based on your grip. If you don't want to have a grip in life, I'm sorry. I can't do it for you. And I think that's what really changes a lot of perspective of people. Is that kind of the intimidation of knowing what you don't. And I think that's where my attitude is that you can't get anyone else to change things. You can't. And I think that's where either a person wants to change who they are then. Oh, I'm not going to change them, I'm going to change myself. But the problem is they use somebody else to do that. Well, get out of here. You're not going to get that from me. You're going to get my kindness, you're going to take advantage of it. But maybe it's because you never gotten kindness, so it's not really taking advantage of me. Just saying, it isn't. It's not taking advantage of me. Because you can't take advantage of somebody that you don't understand. Why are you so kind? Why are you so nice? Can't really take advantage of somebody like that, really. You can take advantage of their kindness and nice personality, but you can't really do anything else because you don't understand it. You're like, what the hell? I'm used to getting kicked in the face. I'm used to getting cheated on. And then, if you're used to that, then that's what you're going to go back to. That's what you're going to be taken advantage of. If you're taken advantage of, you can't really take advantage of anybody. If you're the one being taken advantage of all the time, it's hard to be taken. It's hard for you to take advantage of something when you're the one taken advantage of always. If you're going to be that weak, it's fine to be weak. I understand weakness and strengths. I show my weakness all the time. But if you don't love me for my weaknesses, you're going to hate me for my strengths, And it's the same thing that I've seen from other people. They try to use their weaknesses and say, you don't love me because see how weak I am? See how weak I am? And it's like, what the fuck? Shut up. When did I put down your weakness? And then they shut up. And it's like, yep. That's why our friendship is over. Because I've never assumed anything or said anything toward you. You've only assumed it and said it's true. Have a good life. Self-depreciating bullshit attitude that you have of saying that you know exactly how I feel when you never even asked me. My feelings for someone will only matter to you. Nobody else closer could change from that. No matter, because how they have felt of you will be a conclusion that has to be accepted. Yeah, my feelings will only matter to you. That's, nobody else closer could change from that, But that means that you're not closer if you have. No matter, because how they have felt of you will be a conclusion that has to be accepted. And to be honest, that's what people use against people a lot of times, whether it's close family members or anything else like that. You kind of have this intimidation of, I'm going to put you down if you don't stop seeing that person. Go ahead. You already did before. You already did before, obviously. This isn't something new. And I think that's what I've learned. That a lot of people use that intimidation, that sort of like, I'm gonna use what I have against you, which is you being dependent on me, as a means to get you to do things my way. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work with me. No, fuck you. If you truly loved me, you have to see that me being dependent on you is not something you have to use against me. I'm here because of you, which means that me being here with you is not to take advantage of you. If you think it is, you should kick me out. You shouldn't keep me here. That's how I feel. If you think I'm taking advantage of you in the wrong way, then get rid of me, please. Please, thank the gods, kill me even. Because that would make me feel a little better about how bad I've treated you. I wouldn't want to stay alive. If I had any resentments or anything like that, I wouldn't want to stay alive. But if I was taking advantage of you in the wrong way, but you're taking advantage of your own children in the wrong way. That's what I've noticed about this generation. A lot of parents in general have taken advantage of their children in the wrong way. Have said, you have to do things my way. And if you don't, I'm gonna mistreat you, slap, or destroy them with abuse. Ugh. There are certain things that I've noticed that there are many different ways to teach kids. But some of the ways that a lot of parents do it behind closed doors aren't so nice. And I'm not talking about little abuse here and there where where a lot of people have called, little things abuse, which I don't think they are. But I do think that certain ones, definitely, a lot of ones that are being done right now aren't so nice. Like where kids are crying constantly. And I'm not talking about crying because they don't have that bottle. I mean crying because the parent just disgustingly treats them a certain way. It doesn't work. And if it does work, it doesn't work for the right reasons. Because there's not a lot of baggage in that, but there's a lot of stuff that's going to be scruffed up. But we got to teach our kids. What do we got to teach our kids? To be like us? Or to be themselves? That's what really comes down to. What is it about? Is it about you or is it about them? That's what I've learned from parents, that it's about them. It's not about their kids. Even though they say, well, I gotta, like let's say if someone's not in a relationship at the moment, didn't work with the ex-husband, stuff like that, or ex-girlfriend or whatever, or girlfriend and girlfriend, or boyfriend and boyfriend, or boyfriend and girlfriend, whichever relationship you want, didn't work out with them, they're trying to find another person. Well, we gotta have a good relationship for the kid. Okay, we gotta put the kid first. Okay, there's a certain extent where that is true and not true. It's true that you would have to do it for the kid, but it's not true that you would have to do it for each other. If you don't have a good relationship with each other, the kid is going to be fucked up anyway. You got to have a good relationship with each other. If you don't want to even try to do that, don't even get into a relationship then. At the same time, I would point to the fact that why did you have a kid? But that's okay. You somehow assumed that the person you had a kid with was the right person, or that the person that you had sex with, or the person you built that relationship with, or just had sex with, because maybe it was just sex that you started off with. It's a choice, I get attached to a lot of things, though. I'm a person who believes, personally, I get attached to friendships, to anything you can think of. I get attached. And I think that's where a lot of my pink cloudness comes from. That it's from that. I get attached. I have willpower in it. I have willpower in everything I do. And I think that's where it's kind of a turnoff to a lot of people, that they almost use it against you. That, you have enough to do this. That it's like, well, it's a problem that I'm like this or something. And I think that's what I've learned, that it's just like, if I want to deal with that or be in that position, I would do that forever. I would have, but I get attached. It hurts a lot, because a lot of the friendships went downhill. And now I'm just in a position of where I am, and it's great that a lot of things have changed. It's great that so many things have come and gone and come, and everything else has happened. So I can only say, take care, guys. Love to all of you.